It's crazy to think that the iPhone XS Max was released 6 years ago, all the way back in September 2018, making it one of the oldest iPhones to support the latest iOS versions. It features a quite large 6.5-inch OLED 60Hz display, rounded stainless steel edges, and a glossy back glass. A design that's still regarded as one of Apple's best by many. It features a dual camera system on the back, including a 12-megapixel main lens with an f1.8 aperture, and another 12-megapixel telephoto zoom lens with an f2.4 aperture. And while the XS Max lacks a handful of Apple's newest camera additions like the Photonic Engine, Deep Fusion, Apple ProRAW, and Night Mode, it still takes very usable and passable photos for most people. The XS Max lacks that third ultra-wide lens that all the newer high-end iPhones have, so unfortunately you're not able to take those 0.5 times shots. As I mentioned earlier, this phone supports the latest iOS 17, and it will be supporting the next major iOS update, iOS 18, which is coming out just next week. And this phone is powered by the Apple A12 processor with 4 gigs of RAM, and it performs quite well to this day, even on the latest iOS firmwares. iOS 18 will very likely be the final major iOS update the XS Max will get, though. It has a 3174 mAh battery, which at the time of the phone's release provided pretty solid battery life, but now, since most XS Maxes have been used for many years and years, the typical XS Max's battery is generally pretty far from 100% capacity in 2024, resulting in not great battery life for most XS Maxes right now. And I want to take a moment and thank Taurus for sponsoring this video. The O Stand R iPhone cases provide SGS certified 12-foot military-grade protection while adding a handy 360-degree rotatable stand, which allows you to stand your iPhone up horizontally or vertically at any angle you like, which is perfect for keeping an eye on notifications while you work, watching video content, taking video calls hands-free, and even photography for getting creative shots from various angles. And the stand folds back up into the case seamlessly when you're not using it with a satisfying snap, resulting in a very slim iPhone case design. The stand also doubles as a ring holder, which you can use to hold your iPhone easily and securely. Taurus is actually the originator of the stand case, and this case also features all-around protection with edges that rise above the screen and the cameras. The circular stand is also magnetic, making this case fully compatible with MagSafe accessories and chargers, and you're also able to attach it to magnetic surfaces like your fridge or microwave, making it easy to view recipes and lists, and even take photos when you're out and about. The case features easy-to-press raised buttons and a textured frame, making for a secure grip. Another great option is the Taurus 360-degree spin stand case, which features precise spinning and also, of course, has all-in-one convenience for standing, charging, and holding. It also has a 4-zone spinning axis with a mechanical clicky sound and is more stable than other options. All the Taurus cases and accessories are available for iPhone 13 models and newer. These cases pair perfectly with the Taurus Glass Go tempered glass screen protector, which is honestly the easiest screen protector installation I've ever done. After cleaning the display with wet wipes and then wiping it with a dry cloth, you just align the guidance frame, pull out the plastic sheet, and the screen protector seals right onto the device without any bubbles, just like that. And the Taurus Mini Mag power bank completes this setup, as it's the thinnest MagSafe power bank I've ever seen, making it perfect for bringing with you on the go. Not to mention its premium metal design and advanced lithium polymer battery. I'll leave a link to where you can check out all these products in the video description down below. Big thanks again to Taurus for sponsoring this video. So of course, for video, you again are missing out on a host of Apple's latest additions from the last 6 years or so, such as cinematic mode for recording videos with a shallow depth of field effect, action mode for better video stabilization, ProRes and log video recording, and of course you don't have the crazy 5 times optical zoom telephoto lens that the newest 15 Pro Max has. You do, however, have a perfectly fine 2 times telephoto zoom lens on the XS Max though. So for standard video recording, all the way up to 4K 60 frames per second, the XS Max kinda nails the basics. You definitely notice things like better dynamic range on newer iPhones and also just more detail, but it's nothing that jumps out at you. And by the way, the XS Max has a 7 megapixel front-facing camera with an f2.2 aperture, which all things considered looks pretty good. So the display size of the XS Max feels like the same size as all the newer Pro Max iPhones. The XS Max again has a 6.5-inch display, where the 12 Pro Max and up all have 6.7-inch displays. And honestly, it's not substantial enough of a difference to be noticeable, to me at least. So it still delivers that max feeling experience even after all these years. Now I will say though, the max display brightness for the XS Max in typical situations is 625 nits, which is on the lower side by today's standards. I have noticed myself cranking the brightness up all the way to max on this phone when in direct sunlight environments, and being a little surprised that it can't get a little bit brighter. It's not a huge deal to me, as the display is still plenty visible even in these direct sunlight environments, but it's definitely something that I noticed. And probably the most noticeable difference between the XS Max and the latest iPhone generations is the way that it feels in the hand, as the XS Max features very rounded edges where the 12 Pro series and up all feature feature more flat edges. The XS Max is definitely more comfortable to hold than the newer iPhones if you use it without a case, but you should be using a case on your iPhone, and most people do, so this probably isn't going to be that big of a deal. Now, as I briefly mentioned earlier, the XS Max has a max display refresh rate of 60 Hz, where the 13 Pro series and up have displays that can go all the way up to 120 Hz, which makes scrolling and animations look smoother. But this is generally only going to be bothersome if you're downgrading from an iPhone that has a 120 Hz display to one that has a 60 Hz display, which probably isn't going to be the case if you're using the XS Max. And I want to take a moment and talk about the overall experience and value of the XS Max in 2024, the price and where you can buy it, and if it's worth buying right now. So as you've probably gathered throughout this video so far, the XS Max provides a pretty solid iPhone experience in 2024 considering its age. There is no glaring issues with the experience of the XS Max in 2024 on the latest iOS firmwares. Of course, it's not going to be the fastest device, but it's plenty responsive, which is a true testament to Apple future-proofing their hardware. Now, of course, with an iPhone like this, the only place you can currently buy them is on used marketplaces like eBay, Amazon, Back Market, and similar stores. You can generally get good, used, unlocked iPhone XS Maxes starting around the $200 price point, give or take a little bit. And as much as I don't recommend buying this phone right now, just because, as I mentioned before, this phone is entering what's likely to be its final year of major iOS update support with iOS 18, I do think it's actually a more than fair amount of money to pay for the experience you get with the XS Max in 2024. It holds up impressively well. But the problem is you're investing money in a device that's not going to get any of the latest features for longer than a year and is already several years old. The lowest iPhone series I'd actually recommend spending money on at the moment is the iPhone 12 series. Any iPhones older than that, you're just not going to get a device that'll have much longevity left in the tank. But if you currently own one right now and you don't have any glaring issues with it, there's no reason not to ride it out for another year or so, as you'll still receive the latest iOS updates and experiences for the next year. So the iPhone XS Max fundamentally provides the same experience as all the newest iPhones, just with less bells and whistles. You don't get the latest 120 Hz display tech, or the latest camera tech, or the latest lightning quick processor. But the fundamental iOS experience with most of the essential features is here. Thank you all so much for watching as always, and of course, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.